Thus, he brought out the central unique feature of Indian society as distinct from Western society. This gives us a key what the normal, spontaneous, natural idea of man to woman should be. A man, if he is normal and has a certain level of refinement in his psyche, when he sees a woman, the thought should come to him of some human relationship. There is a human relationship between one human being and another human being. So the only thought should be on the basis of some type of human relationship. Therefore, a man is to a woman either a brother, a cousin, a nephew, an uncle, a father or a husband, and woman is to a man either a sister, a cousin, an aunt, a niece or a mother. But if the first thing that comes into the mind is, I am a man and here is a woman, then there is something fundamentally and basically wrong in the makeup or bringing up of that person. If a woman looks at a man and says, he is a male, here is a man, then if this is the only idea that is evoked with regard to the other sex, it means that there is something missing. There is something fundamentally wrong which is not correct and right within that consciousness. And what is the anatomy of this error in view, in attitude, in approach, in the feeling itself? The anatomy of this error is an obsession with the physical level of the personality. A person is a physical, biological being. He is a mental, intellectual, psychological being. He is also a vital, living being, which is neither physical only or psychical only. He has a pranic level, where he has hunger, thirst, a feeling of heat and cold. He has a psychological level, and in this psychological level, there is a spontaneous, uncontrolled part which keeps constantly in a state of activity in the form of thoughts, memory, imagination, sentiments, emotions, attitudes, moods, over which he has no control at all. It is spontaneous. And there is another part, which is a purposeful exercise of a certain part of the Antakarana. That purposeful exercise is in the form of observation, perception, discrimination, grasping the distinction between what you perceive and something other than that, what you perceive. That purposeful exercise is in the form of observation, perception, discrimination, grasping the distinction between what you perceive and something other than what you perceive. So, it is a specialized performance, a specialized function that takes place, and it is usually purposefully initiated and carried out also. It is called the intellectual process of reasoning, discriminating, inquiring, reflecting and perceiving in a special way. This is the higher Prakriti, the Buddhi. Both of them together go to make up the inner psychological level of your being. And then a refined higher level of the Buddhi functions as an awareness of what is allowed and what is not allowed as a human being. I have a great background. I have inherited a culture. I am not an isolated phenomenon. I am connected with the past. And there is something in me of the totality of the past, their ideals, their views, their attitudes, their concepts of right and wrong. So all these things are functioning within me. And so each one comes here with a certain inbuilt awareness of what is beautiful, what is ugly, what is noble, what is ignoble, what is proper, what is improper, what is right, what is wrong, what ought to be done, what ought not to be done. And this sense of the ideal and what is correct and right is called the moral sense or ethical sense. This is a higher operation than even the intellectual level of our being. This is an ethical man, a moral man. And if in your consciousness there has come about a certain refinement And that refinement brings about your normal consciousness to be in a state of identifying yourself with your ethical level, ethical personality. Then your whole life takes on a different plane. Whereas, if there is an essential crudeness in the consciousness within, and it tends to normally and habitually identify itself with the grossest aspect of your human personality, the physical, biological, body aspect, then the entire human reaction comes upon the physical, biological level only. Spontaneously, first and foremost, it is the biological level that makes itself felt, demonstrates itself, and expresses itself, and in this way looking at another only as a physical being and qualified by a certain sex. If you think, I am this body, this physical body, physical mechanisms, and therefore being rooted in this awareness, mainly rooted in this consciousness of yourself, naturally you think of all other beings upon this concept, upon the same level. If someone appears before you, it is the physical body that appears before you, and your reaction to it is also a biological animal reaction. Then, naturally it creates a problem right upon the physical level itself. It needs, therefore, a refinement of consciousness. Gradually, you have to educate yourself to shed, like one shakes off a loose slipper and puts on a new one. One has to shake off the old remnant. There was a certain human race, thousands of years ago, when there was no intellectual development, no mental development, no evolution, leave alone spiritual development. These beings therefore lived in a state of 100% body consciousness only, just as the animals live. The animal level of consciousness is totally identified with the body. And if man's consciousness is predominantly on the level of the animal consciousness, he is far from spiritual evolution, and all talk about yoga, sadhana, samadhi, super consciousness or ecstasy is only talk. It is so much of ideas, so much of words. If you have a good command of words, you can talk about these ideas. You can give expression to them. But if you are always rooted and caught in the net and coils of a gross physical awareness only, and your whole reaction to the outer world of physical things is also upon the physical biological level, then there is a great deal of spade work to do.